This bill provides universal lunch and breakfast to all Minnesota school students free of charge by creating a school meals program within MDE.
I have yet to meet a person in Minnesota that is hungry. This is a bill that is a solution in search of a need.
This bill, though well-intentioned, is just the latest example of socialism.
So what this bill comes down to is we're spending over $200 million a year on something that is not a priority for our schools.
Right now, as we sit here in the Senate chamber, an estimated 274,886 students are on free and reduced meals in Minnesota. Roughly 1 in 6 children are food insecure. That means they don't know where or when their next meal will be available if they get one at all.
This is pure socialism. This is about control. It's about the government dictating to kids what they're going to eat and how much they're going to eat. The party in control here, Mr. President, the Socialist Party of Minnesota, is telling the people of Minnesota how they have to feed their kids. I have yet to meet a person in Minnesota that says they don't have access to enough food to eat. Now, I should say that hunger is a relative term, Mr. President. You know, I had a cereal bar for breakfast. I guess I'm hungry now. That, to some, might be maybe that's the definition of the bill. I don't know. I didn't see a definition of hunger in the bill, Mr. President.
We have folks, if you have a student that weighs 80 pounds and he gets a sandwich, you have another student that weighs 180 pounds and he gets the same size sandwich. Are you telling me that that stomach is not rumbling? I think it probably is.
We need to make sure if we're going to develop more food welfare programs and force them, in this case, on the kids and the families of the state of Minnesota, we got to make sure that they're not at least riddled with the type of fraud that basically is stealing from the people of Minnesota.
This has absolutely nothing to do with feeding our future or fraud or anything. This is an existing school program that is already working in our Minnesota schools, in both public and private schools. This is an expansion of that program. It has nothing to do with fraud. In fact, this is something that has been in place for generations. This need is overwhelming. While we sit here and debate today whether or not we should feed kids, there are tens of thousands of kids in school right now in Minnesota with rumbling stomachs who are trying to learn while they are hungry. We should not make children go hungry because of paperwork. If we need the paperwork to do a type of funding, then we need to figure out another way that does not include children who are starving right now. We need to take care of our children. We need to get this passed. We need to set our children up for success, and that means them having full bellies and being in an environment where they can learn. So if there are other things that we need to work about that are outside of this, fine, let's go get those done. But today, we need to feed children. So I will be voting yes for this, for all the children in need, many of whom I've helped serve, and I hope everyone else does the same.